Hey, good afternoon once again to B&B Hockey Talk. I'm Aaron Bloxel with my co-host, Mr. Matt Balzer. Today we're going to be giving you a recap of all the hockey action that took place last night, September the 20th, as well as bringing you up to speed with some of the hockey news from today. Last night, just still preseason, but a lot more prominent players starting to play, and you caught some of that action. On our Facebook page, remember to like and comment and subscribe. Or you can subscribe to us on YouTube. Remember to comment as well. Talk to us about who your favorite team is, who your favorite players are. We want to hear from you, the fan. All right, but let's get into last night's action. Lots of games happened, and what stood out for you, Matt?
Yeah, so the Ilya Kovalchuk scored his first goal with the Kings last night. Even though they got blown out, this was not the squad playing against the Canucks, but their second half. He came down the right wing, put the puck right between the defenseman's feet, went around him and scored top shelf. He seems to be starting to get some chemistry with Kopitar and Brown on that top line. As well, with the Edmonton Oilers, the big line of Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Ratty went off last night. Ty Ratty, 2 goals, 5 points. McDavid, 1 goal, 4 points. And Nugent Hopkins with 2 goals. That line was on fire last night. Ratty's really making a push to make the team, especially with all the question marks with who is going to play on the wing. And earn those top minutes with guys like McDavid and Draisaitl, with all the question marks around Lucic and all the younger guys like Puljujärvi. Those guys are starting to step up. Puljujärvi with another goal also last night for the Oilers. As well, in the Detroit game, Thomas Vanek had a really nice tip between his feet, and Andreas Antonescu had a nice breakaway goal where he powered around the goalie to the left-hand side and put it in. And then Ovechkin scored from his office again. And I never get tired of seeing him score from that spot. It's just you just can't believe it. It's just he just continues to score from there. It's like it's one of the things I bring up. Is like after his career is over, it's like how many times has he scored from that exact spot from the ice? And Brendan Gallagher also had a really good game for Montreal with a goal and an assist, and being his feisty self out there.
Yeah, for me, in that same game as Ilya Kovalchuk played, the LA Kings lost to the Vegas Golden Knights. And the top line seems to be in sync for Vegas already. Marshall Show, Smith, and William Karlsson, with Marshall Show and Smith getting 4 points each, and Karlsson with 3 points. That really stood out. Ty Ratty, man, we commented about him on our video a couple of nights ago, actually 3 days ago now, after they played the Vancouver Canucks. And he looked really good in that game and putting up 5 points again last night. I think he's definitely made a case to start the year on that top line. He seems to really fit in, and he could be set for a big year. So if you're in any hockey pools, he might be a good sleeper pick for you. Who else stood out for us?
Oh, yes. In the Islanders game, Devon Toews had an assist in 22 and a half minutes for the Islanders as he looks to make that team. And Kiefer Bellows had 1 goal he, with a rocket from the slot top shelf glove side. It'd be intriguing if he can get an outside shot of making the team, just because of just how good the release on his shot is. He's basically like the left-handed Brock Besser, I'd say, for the Islanders. But with a lot of forwards there, he could start down in the minors, but I don't think he'll be long for Bellows to make the team.
Yeah, I've got Bellows actually penciled into making that Islanders squad this year. And I don't think he'll be too long until he's up on the top 2 lines, just because he is a left-handed shot, and he does replace some of the guys that they lost up front there. Guys like Eberle are right-handed shooters. Barzal's a right-handed shooter. So having that left-handed guy will help complement those lines if he can get some ice time up there.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Vancouver against Los Angeles last night. A couple guys that stood out for me was the fact that Ben Hutton actually played over 30 minutes of ice last night. We talked about off air yesterday about the starting lineup and how Archibald Virtanen were on a line together, and I made the comment that they were more than likely put together to bang some bodies around. And man, they really banged some bodies around. Archibald with like you said to me earlier today, had 7 hits last night and stood out a little bit for the Canucks in the physicality category. But man, Michael Delzato was throwing the weight around, had lots of hits, and many were of the big kind. I cringed, I think, on 3 of them, especially when the one guy hit his face into the boards, and then he hurt one of the rookies for Los Angeles towards the end of the game with a mid-ice hit where the guy went crashing into the boards. Who else stood out for you? And obviously, Elias Pettersson, again, 2 more assists that really stood out. But you still see some of the weaknesses in his game, but he does definitely do a lot with the puck, and he can put up points.
Yeah. So Elias Pettersson making the secondary assist look cool as the saying was going. But that no look between the legs pass through his own feet and Jake Muzzin's feet right to Berchi, who set up Horvat for just a beautiful goal. Really stood out to me, at least on the power play. 5-on-5, he didn't stand out as much as that first game. And he struggled in the faceoff dot. He was only 18%, only 2 wins and 9 losses. Bo Horvat, by far the best player from start to finish. 2 goals, 1 assist, and 1 goal in the shootout. This guy looks like I still understand why they just don't give him the C already, but he's leading the team. Both preseason games he's been in, he's been the best player. I think from start to finish. Also, Tyler Mott really caught my eye. I know in the first game I wasn't overly impressed with him, but every time he was on the ice, he was forechecking. He had a couple scoring chances. He had a nice tip in front of the net, and he set up Horvat while falling down on his knees, just fired it up the boards on his backhand, and Horvat went down and scored. I still think he might be in tough to make the team just with how many forwards there are, and that he doesn't require waivers yet. Makes it easier for the Canucks to move him down and have him called up later in the year. But if he continues to play like this, I think guys like Brendan Gaunce could be in trouble making this team. Also, Delzato, I thought really stood out to me on the back end. I think defensively there's still some problems with the Canucks defense in general, but he set the tone of the game right off the bat with a couple of big hits. And he had a nice stretch pass to Dolan for a breakaway. Dolan was a little bit more on the disappointing side again. He only played just under 12 minutes. Outside of that one chance, I think he's showing that he'll still need to develop a little bit more. And Markstrom, in general, I thought he was all right. I think it took him a little bit to get into the game. I thought the third period and overtime, he was really solid for the Canucks. I think the third goal, I think he would have liked back. He was a little deep, and Pearson, even though it was a good release, top glove, I think he could have challenged the challenge a little more to cut that angle down. But the other goal's not really his fault. I think the biggest question mark still going is the Canucks back end and how the heck these guys are going to hold up. Those are the guys that stood out to me. Besser had over 20 minutes, but was a little bit on the quiet end. I think on the power play, Hutton had a bit of trouble setting up Pettersson and Besser for those one-timers that everybody was wanting to see. But I think it makes you miss Quinn Hughes and hoping that he'd be on the team. But hopefully when Edler starts getting on the power play, things will start clicking.
Yeah, for me, a couple games ago, Tyler Mott looked really good. His speed was good. And he continued that yesterday. just to go along with what you said about him already, he is somebody that stood out for me. Jay Beagle's positioning also stood out for me, especially on the penalty kill, on whether it's 5-on-4 or even the 4-on-3 in overtime. He made a leg shot block that went up and over the glass and out of play. But he's just in really good positioning, and of course, he's great on his faceoffs. Now, we've talked a lot about the Canucks. For me, the interesting thing from a Los Angeles perspective yesterday, obviously they had two games going on at the same time, but in Vancouver game, they had Jack Campbell start and Peter Budaj come in the third period. The battle of the backups to Jonathan Quick, as I like to call it. As a goaltender, what did you like from those two guys, and who do you think is going to win out in that position?
Yeah, so I thought Jack Campbell was really solid for the entire night. He had a couple of nice glove saves, especially one on Pettersson in the power play in the second period, where Pettersson rifled that thing, and it was going to go top shelf on the glove hand side, but he made a nice glove save there. Budaj is as a goalie, I never liked coming into a game halfway through if there was like two goalies in minor hockey. And stuff, but even though in the NHL it's different, you got to be prepared all the time. I thought he was all right. In the shootout, he started off well, and then Horvat just squeaked that one underneath his glove in the shootout, and then Goodolbin's move. That's a really nice quick move to that blocker side. But I thought he was all right. But yeah, Jack Campbell I think is the favorite right now to back up Quick. And also some other guys that stood out to me is Tyler Toffoli, the Canuck killer, as he's known around here. Him and Tanner Pearson played really well together, and Toffoli was buzzing around the entire night. Kel Clegg had 2 assists as well. I think he'll start down in the American Hockey League, but that's another young defenseman for the Kings that's coming up in their system. That should be pushing for ice time, maybe possibly as the year goes along.
Toffoli and Pearson, of course, more than likely to start the season with Jeff Carter on a line, and that is known as that 70s line. For me, Peter Budaj coming in cold's got to be tough. At the beginning of the third period, and in the shootout, it was kind of funny because both Besser and Pettersson, he didn't even move on those and ended up stopping both of them. And then the two that he did move on, they both went in. So it was interesting to see that happen. But, so that's a little bit about the LA Kings. Canucks, of course, made some cuts today. Why don't you fill us in on that? And then we're going to wrap up this episode.
Yeah, so the Canucks sent down Zach McEwen, Cole Lind, Lucas Jasek, Jonah Gadovich, and Gilliam Breezewa down to Utica. They placed Richard Bachman and Tanner Kiro on waivers for the purpose to be sent down to Utica. And goaltender Ivan Kolbakov, who backed up Markstrom last night, was released from his trial, but he'll be down in Utica for their camp. Gilliam Breezewa, that's another guy that I forgot to bring up. Under 10 minutes of ice time, and probably the only time I noticed him was on a delayed penalty for LA. He was carrying the puck down, and he had Pettersson on the right wing, and instead of giving it to him, he dumped it into the corner, and LA got the puck for the whistle. And after that, I don't think I saw him much because he played under 10 minutes. So the Jim Benning hype around Breezewa didn't last that long. But yeah, I think guys like Lind, Jasek, and Gadovich in the one game, they didn't overly stand out against the Flames young guys. So and they were going to get sent down anyways. But I think you brought up Petrus Palmu's still with the team, even though I thought he played just all right in that first game. But we'll see. I believe the Canucks play tomorrow, if I remember correctly, and there'll probably be some more cuts to some of the younger guys as the veterans start to ramp up their play.
Yeah, some of the guys like Palmu, Gaudette, and even Dahlin. The rookies, they're going to get a shot. Ole Levy's another guy that's still with the team. They'll probably get one more look before decisions made on them. But that battle for third and fourth line roster spots is going to start heating up, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, guys, remember to like and share our stuff. Final word, Matt, before we wrap up?
Yeah. So we won't have any shows on the weekend, but I'll be posting the highlights of the Canucks game probably late at night because I'm going to the BC Lions game that night.
This
But
isn't a football show; it's a hockey show.
I know, yeah, but yeah, we'll have all the highlights, and then Monday we'll break down all the highlights from the weekend.
Excellent. So, guys, thanks so much for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you guys all on Monday with another episode of B&B Hockey Talk. Thanks so much for supporting us, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week.